But, that relates to the other NFL news that continues to percolate and present some risk to them, which is that the owner of the St. Louis Rams, now the Los Angeles Rams, where both the Rams and Chargers play, that stadium was mostly built for the Rams owner because he's a real estate mogul who saw an NFL franchise as a way to enrich himself in real estate.
Yeah.
But
the Chargers are renting. The Chargers are renting that. It's pathetic, man.
It is. The basically the St. Louis sued the NFL on an interesting theory, which is that the internal rules governing the NFL were actually a contract that they were a third-party beneficiary of, and that because the NFL broke its own rules in the way they allowed that move from St. Louis to LA to take place, and because both the NFL and the Rams owner made false statements during that time period about their intention to move in St. Louis, that they have brought a $1 billion plus suit against the NFL. And the other thing they're trying to do is use discovery to get the real books, which the NFL has never wanted to show anybody, including even the union, in terms of the real books, including Jerry Jones's books and some other people. They're willing to risk contempt rather than turn over those books to show what the real bottom line is, to show what the real monetary issue is. And now the St. Louis Rams owner had promised to indemnify the league against any damages from the move, and is apparently looking at settling and getting out of that indemnity and basically sticking the NFL potentially with a multi-billion-dollar judgment in a trial that may be coming up in a couple of months. So it'll be interesting to watch that case, both for its our cities and communities and fan bases, third-party beneficiaries of internal agreements amongst the NFL league owners, because that will sharply restrict the ability of the NFL to screw cities and towns and fan bases in the future. Second, will there be discovery that will disclose the real books of people like Jerry Jones and other people? Because that would be very interesting. It's records, evidence they've hid from everybody. And then third, of course, they may have to write a couple of $1 billion check or give St. Louis its own franchise and expand the league solely to deal with the multi-billion-dollar threat they have from the city of St. Louis. So that'll be an interesting case to watch and monitor that impacts the league. While, of course, Jon Gruden is now suing the league for their efforts to run him out of the league and engage in cancel culture based on decade-old emails. And it looks like the Raiders and the NFL did not get a severance agreement with Jon Gruden. And now it'll be interesting to see what comes up and comes out of that case, both from a discovery perspective and future legal precedent perspective. But good for Gruden to sue because it deters and discourages this cancel culture that the NFL's been trying to adapt and enforce over the last couple of years.
Well, I'm so happy that he did sue, and we made this statement here on this channel after that happened. We're like, it's going to be interesting to see if he does sue them. Now, a lot of that was predicated. Did he take a lot of money to walk away? But I don't actually know, because even if he does take money to kind of walk away from the Raiders, does that necessarily negate any of his ability to still go after the NFL? Because his problem wasn't really with the Raiders. The Raiders didn't do anything. The Raiders wanted to keep him there. And at the end of the day, the NFL basically forced them to fire him. And obviously something was worked out with Mark Davis so that he would step down instead of an official firing. But the NFL and Roger Goodell specifically are the ones, quite obviously, who are leaking these things, leaking these private emails with the intention to defame and slander Jon Gruden, to distract from everything else. So wouldn't it be interesting if in this lawsuit, in discovery in this lawsuit, we can open up some of the NFL's headquarters' own emails and kind of play a little bit of, get a little bit of their own medicine when their personal emails are found, and it looks like they were intentionally doing things to fuck up Jon Gruden and his career. And when it comes to the Rams, same thing with the Chargers. Both the Rams and the Chargers, it was pretty obvious that both teams wanted to move to Los Angeles and wanted to leave wherever they were at before. But they tried to play this game like, oh, well, if the city can do this for us, then I guess we'll stay, knowing full well that they wouldn't. So they played this game. They really lied to a lot of these communities to try to give them hope. So they'd still come to the game. So they'd still do these things. So there's a lot of mad people in St. Louis and San Diego. I was in San Diego for 4.5 years. Including right after the immediate aftermath The first season after they moved to LA, I went to a couple Chargers training camps and a couple Chargers games at that little soccer stadium they played in. And it was embarrassing. They have no fan base in LA. They're all in San Diego, and they're all pissed off at that ownership group for clearly lying to everyone. But what happened? They moved to LA, and overnight, they make money. Because they're just they're in that space. They're not in St. Louis, they're in LA. They're not in little San Diego, they're in big market Los Angeles. And it'd be interesting to see some comeuppance come from that. I don't know if it'll happen for the Chargers, but definitely for the Rams.
No doubt. It'll be interesting to watch and to see as it goes forward.